Chapter 5 Selection. The interview. This passage describes the experience of waiting for a job interview, capturing the nervous anticipation and hopeful expectation that many candidates feel. It highlights the importance of first impressions and the process of preparing for and undergoing an interview, including the moment when self doubt may creep in. The interviewer, on the other hand, has carefully reviewed resumes, set criteria, planning the timeline, and conducting preliminary interviews to narrow down the candidates. The passage emphasizes that the selection process is detailed and time-consuming, requiring through preparations and the ability to present the organization positively to the candidates. The selection process. The U.S. Department of Labor estimated that hiring a new employee can cost up to $40,000, highlighting the importance of getting it right that first time. Mistakes like the Austin Fire Department's need to re-interview candidates due to leaked questions can lead to even higher cost. The selection process consists of five distinct aspects. First, the criteria development. Second, application and resume review. Third, interviewing. Fourth, test administration. Fifth, making the offer. First, the criteria development. Criteria development is a crucial step in the hiring process where those involved determine the qualification and characteristic necessary for the job. This involves deciding what information will be used, how it will be scored, and ensuring it aligns with the job analysis and specifications. Criteria may include skills, abilities, personalities, and cultural fit. Developing these criteria before reviewing resumes ensures a fair selection process. Some organizations may also require candidates to complete an application or biographical information sheet, typically done online, to gather details on education and job experience. Second, application and resume review. Once the criteria have been developed, step 1, application can be reviewed. People have different methods of going through this process, but there are also computer programs that can search for keywords in resumes and narrow down the numbers of resumes that must be looked at and reviewed. Third, interviewing. After the HR manager and or manager have determined which application met the minimum criteria, he or she must select those people to be interviewed. Most people do not have time to review 20 or 30 candidates, so the field is sometimes narrowed even further with a phone interview. Fourth, testing administration. Any number of tests may be administered before a hiring decision is made. These include drug tests, physical tests, personality tests, and cognitive tests. Some organizations also perform preference checks, credit report checks, and background checks. Once the field of candidates has been narrowed down, tests can be administered. Fifth, making the offer. The last step in the selection process is to offer a position to the chosen candidate. Development of an offer via email or letter is sometimes a more formal part of this process. Criteria development and resume review. Before reviewing resumes and applications, it's, it's important to have a clear idea of the type of person you're looking to hire. Job specification help identify basic qualifications like education and experience, but you should also consider traits like attitude, initiatives, and other personal characteristics that might not be obvious on paper. Personality tests and work samples help assess key traits. Clear criteria known as KSAOS or knowledge, skills, ability, and other traits make hiring easier. Some organizations like the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs requires candidates to address each KSAO in their cover letters. Criteria development considerations. Many HR professionals and managers develop the criteria for hiring, as well as the interview questions before reviewing any resumes. This allows for a streamlined process with specific guidelines already set before reviewing a resume. Criteria development considerations. For example, criteria for a project management job might include the following. First, 2 years of experience managing a $2 million or more project budget. Second, a bachelor's degree in business or closely related field. Third, ability to work on multiple projects at once. Fourth, problem solving ability. Fifth, conflict management ability to manage a team of 5 to 6 diverse workers. 6. Score of at least at 70 on cognitive ability test. 7. Score of excellence from most recent employer. Criteria development considerations. Setting criteria in advance gives the hiring team unclear ideas of the qualification needed, making it easier to decide who should move forward in the selection process. For example, applicants without a required bachelor degree can be set aside, while those meeting the criteria move on to interviews focus on key skills like problem solving and multitasking. Resume parsing software like Sovereign helps by scanning for specific keywords such as bachelor's degree or management, stimuli- streamlining the initial screening process and saving time. Validity and reliability. The validity refers to how useful the tool is to measure a person's attributes for a specific job opening. A tool may include any and all of the following. First, resume scanning software. Second, reference checks. Third, cognitive ability test. Fourth, work samples. 5. Credit reports. 6. Biographical information blanks. Weighted application forms. 7. Personality tests. 8. Interview question. Biographical information blanks or BIBS are questionnaires about a candidate's history that can predict job success. These can be scored like resumes or interviews if the organization knows which answers correlate with success. Similarly, a weighted application for assigns scores to specific questions that predict desired behaviors. Scoring criteria should be set before reviewing any application to ensure the tool accurately assesses a candidate's fit for the job. Reliability in selection techniques means that consistent data is obtained over time. For example, if a specific interview question consistently identifies success candidates for a position, it is considered reliable. Conversely, reference checks are less reliable because candidates usually provide references who will give positive feedback, making it harder to assess their true skills and abilities. Fit issues. Fit in hiring involves aligning a candidate's technical skills, education, and experience with both company and team culture. For instance, Facebook seeks engineers who embrace risk-taking and have a hacker mindset, while Zappos prioritizes candidates who excel in customer service. Amazon values long-term career growth, and Microsoft emphasizes both company culture and team compatibility, given its collaborative work environment. Reviewing resumes. When reviewing resumes, managers should be mindful of disparate impact and disparate treatment. Disparate impact refers to unintended discrimination against a protected group due to certain job requirements, such as a physical requirement that may disproportionately affect women. Criteria like a specific credit scores could negatively impact immigrants if it's not essential for the job. It's important to evaluate whether job requirements might unfairly affect any protected group while ensuring they are relevant to the job's responsibilities. Interviewing. Interviewing is costly, so it's important to use time effectively to select the right candidate. Structured interviews, which use standardized questions based on job analysis, ensure fairness and consistency, as answers are predetermined and rated objectively. In contrast, Unstructured interviews adapt questions based on the candidate background, which can be less systematic. For this context, structured interviews will be assumed to ensure a fair and efficient process. Type of interviews. Interview process can be time consuming, so it makes sense to choose the right type of interviews for the individual job. Some jobs, for example, may necessitate only one interview, while others may necessitate a telephone interview and at least one or two traditional interviews. Keep in mind, though, that there will likely be other methods with which to evaluate a candidate's potential, such as testing.